I'm gonna be honest, guys, and yes, this is a continuation after yesterday's video. If it was yesterday, it was the video where I simped a lot. Doesn't clarify anything. I'm gonna lie. But I feel like Penacony for HSR, like the second half we got with Acheron and so on, it was better than I suppose the first half, but it wasn't good. Like, okay, ending scene and the ending cutscene, it was well animated. It was great, except for the fact that the music they used for it was the exact same one in Acheron's trailer. Wonderful music. I don't want to hear that in the in-game variation of the scene. Like, even though I understand, cool, great music, you want to get maximum value out of it, but the trailer should have its own separate music because it doesn't really fit anymore. I associate that with the trailer, and the moment I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's what his theme is. It's not like, oh, like IL's whole reveal had an entirely separate theme, and Acheron just kind of got her own trailer music a second time. I don't know. It'd be like if when Raiden showed up in Genshin Impact, all you heard was Raiden's OST in the background. You never hear Raiden's OST in the game. Raiden's own boss fight has its own separate theme in its entirety. Even the one with the Sacred Sakura Tree, that cutscene has its own separate theme. This isn't going to be a 3-star, I don't think. But regardless, we'll go back. I don't know. I feel like the issue I had with this chapter was they... First off, I'm not gonna lie. I hate when they do this like this massive ending thing and they don't really give you that final sort of resolution. I'm not talking about a resolution on what happened to everybody, but more so like it doesn't feel like the chapter fully ever closes, because that to be continued can either mean, oh, there's a lot coming forward, or oh, it's just you prepping for the next arc, saying goodbye to people. I don't think if my next after to be continued, all I'm doing is saying goodbye to people, I don't think that is worthy of having me wait to a to be continued. It's not that important. Like the Shien show had its own little say goodbye to Yukong and stuff like that, and then prepare for Penacony. That was not worth me waiting. I don't care about these people I just met. You also have the issue, in my opinion, at least, of there were a lot of things that were just kind of dropped unceremoniously into like the plot. More so like you had cornerstones and stuff like that, and I'm not gonna like fully delve into spoilers, but like you had a lot of plot elements that either A, weren't fully explained, but because of the lack of explanation, like a lot of the things that were introduced towards this chapter weren't previously mentioned, either mentioned directly to the player or mentioned directly at all in previous chapters like Bellobog and Xianzhou. And the downside of that is it kind of leaves you with a situation where everybody in the plot, in the scenes, just knows what's going on. And even though you are not necessarily from the perspective of the Trailblazer, you are present, you have no context for how important this is, what this does, what does this mean overall. And it tries to do like a weird web where everybody has their own sort of plans, goals, and everybody has different tidbits of information or knows more or is spying on somebody else. And it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out strictly because nobody ever really is at a disadvantage in theory. Like you have most characters, like you're looking at one character like, oh, so you don't know this, so that means this person has the upper hand. No, they knew the whole time. You have this character, and they're introduced so many like I'm not gonna lie, being blunt, I miss Nameless NPC 1 because every character has a role either now or later on, and the downside of that is they're introducing so much towards the latter half. Like, because you're not just getting things that are relevant to the plot now, you're getting things that are relevant to the specific character you're looking at from the POV of, or things that are relevant to, because you get backstory. Backstory sounds nice in theory, but I would like backstory in a character story. If you toss backstory in a main story, it can either A, mess up the flow, or B, kind of have the opposite effect, where I'm trying to find out what's happening now, and the backstory of a character isn't necessarily changing my perspective on currently ongoing events. Like, for instance, if you were playing the Xianzhou storyline, and you were playing Jing Liu, or even Jing Yuan at the moment previously, and half of the entire Xianzhou storyline was his backstory, I don't think would care. I'm not gonna lie, because if you don't like Jing Yuan to begin with, his backstory doesn't affect the way you view him as a character, because you're not gonna like him afterwards. The story has to conclude in that instance, and then you have to choose, hey, I want to learn more about this character, not just who he relates to now, but who was he before. And that's important because I don't think the differentiation is ever specified. In this instance, you get a lot of backstory, and you also get POV switches. I think in theory, POV switches are great. They're cool, they're interesting, they allow you to see things from the perspective of different characters, and you're not so much focused on the Trailblazer constantly. The downside is, if you do too many POV switches, it's like spreading yourself too thin, because I have to learn about this character, the Trailblazer's path, this other character. Not only learn about these 3 units now and what they're currently experiencing, I'm learning about the backstories of 2 of them. One character is who I am. I still have no context for half the things going on in the story, and I'm just lost. Penacony as a whole, I feel like, was just okay. It wasn't bad, I'm not gonna say that. It just wasn't amazing. Clara's dead. It just wasn't like exceptional. Like, I legitimately do believe that Penacony itself has a good plot, but I don't think it's told well. The writing wants to do a lot, and I think they can do it. They're just trying to do it too quickly. You could have an interweaved story with a bunch of moving parts, but I just don't know if you can tell that within the time frame you're trying to. Acheron, you can do your ult. Acheron, you should do your ult. Sparkle's dead. Acheron, you've lost Sparkle's buff. Oh, 4K on this side? Cool. I forgot what this side is. Oh, a DOT team. Okay. It's like one of my primary issues that was previously with the other storylines, especially with the Stellaron Hunters, was that they had Elio who could predict the future. And my downside or my negative to that was I didn't like that because there wasn't as many stakes for Black Swan. Why did you not use your skill? Why is nobody using their skill? I don't care if they already have Arcana. Use your fucking skill. I didn't like that because it didn't feel like there were as many stakes for the villains because everything was technically speaking predetermined. But in this instance, you have a whole wide roster of characters that you're supposed to care about with events that are supposed to be emotionally impactful. But the downside is you don't really have a reason to care in the sense that you just met these units. If it was a situation to where it's like, oh, like hypothetically, let's take Firefly. Firefly's whole plot point was, oh my God, and this is a spoiler, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows, she dies. I think that if they would have taken that and instead of doing Firefly, you did like March, it would have had more impact because you knew March. She was with you from the very beginning of your journey. But you don't know Firefly. And then her entire death is essentially invalidated towards the end of Penacony. Actually, even during Penacony, half the thing you're doing is searching for the mystery of Firefly's death. It legitimately holds no impact as to who she was, what she did. Like, her knowing you versus her not didn't have an impact in general. And it's not like the things you learned from her ever clue you in on the situation. It's just, yeah, she died. She's one of the many victims. Good luck. Same thing occurred with Robin. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot Robin was a character until she died. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't know. Nobody is using their skill in this team. I'm so confused. Autoplay, you have the extra skills. Please use them. HoYoverse healing is not that I'm taking HoYoverse out of this. Like, I like you, girl, but like autoplay is dumb as fuck. Actually, autoplay should have, actually, yeah, never mind. Autoplay got this. Actually, autoplay has this. Oh my God, you use your burst. Yeah, but I legitimately think Penacony could be a great story. I think it has great points. I just think that the problem is it's trying to do stuff far too quickly within too short of a time frame without explaining the important details to the player. I understand that withholding information has its benefits as well, but the downside is if you withhold too much information, I stop caring, and I think a lot of people do too, because we don't know why something is important. If I'm constantly shown that people care about something, but I don't know why they do, how strong it is, or the relevance it has to the rest of the story, I am not going to continue to care because I know this game is not going to tell me. You can tell me now, or maybe you could tell me in the earlier chapters, in the interludes, and then I will understand, oh, that's what this is. I understand now. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on the Penacony storyline. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? What were your overall perceptions on it? Did you feel like things was properly explained to you, or were you kind of left in the dark? Either way, I want to hear your opinions. I'm going to continue doing fiction. You're probably going to see this in the next video. But for those wondering, every short is recorded at Saturday at 2 a.m. for the whole week. So I edit them all in one day and just upload them and have them scheduled. If you have a comment, even though I get to it like the same day usually, I am not going to implement that comment until the week after. And for all videos, these are recorded on Monday night. It is 5 a.m. right now. I am sick. I need to go to the doctor's. But like, it is 5 a.m. So as a whole, I am not going to, like, you're going to see this video probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I legitimately don't know. But yeah, for those wondering, the videos are so sporadically placed out because they are legitimately made like a week beforehand. I forgot what the purpose of this video is, I'm not gonna lie. I'll see you guys next time. Actually, do tell me, in HSR thus far, what has been your favorite storyline, if you have one? Did you like the Shien show? Did you like her to Space Station mini storyline? Bellabog, was that your best, including the one where we went back for the gaming event and Topaz and such? Or did you like Penacony thus far? Has that been your favorite? And I'm not talking about, when I say story, I mean the way it was told. I'm legitimately not going to talk about any of the cutscenes and those, because I feel like HSR's early stage, actually a lot of HSR stuff is carried solely by the music and the animation. But the difference is in HSR's music versus Genshin music never has vocals. It never does. It just has the instrumentals themselves. So I want to know what your favorite scene is and what your favorite story is. I'll see you next time.